this is going to be a little bit of a different video for you guys. There's been some people who already know, but I've been tilting lately, and my weak side has been coming out. And I'll keep this nice and quick. We all tilt. We all have these times where we are emotionally down, and it just really affects us. And I want this video is mainly dedicated to those who do tilt, to potentially watch or have in the background to see if they can gather some information, some answers to some questions that could help with any scenarios that you could relate to. And I was debating on putting this up because this does show my weak side, like really weak side, but everything I do is because I want to be able to help people to become better players and to learn and do more. And there's a lot of information, a lot of answers to questions, many questions, and shapes, and even a website to and homework that I was given. I wasn't even thinking I was going to end up with homework, but that's what Frozensoul does to you. But and I am still tilting, but I've been applying everything that I'm learning. I'm still losing, but that's fine. As long as you are continuing to play, that is what matters. So without further ado, here is the extremely long 1.5-hour recording of me with Frozensoul. I hope you learned something, and there's bound to be something for you of any rank. And the link that is mentioned later in the video will be in the description below regarding Tsumago, Life and Death. If you want to go check it out yourself and use that for practice. And there are no answer sheets for them either, for that link. So, again, without further ado, here's the video. So this one, I played as white. Okay, let's see.
Hold on.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll just place the stones. Wait, is this the right one? Oh, whatever, it's fine.
Sorry, dealing with a cat at the moment.
No, that's fine. Although I think I need to go over one of the other ones, because this one was just pathetic.
Oh, the worse the game, the better the review.
Well, that's going to be every game.
John was trying to entice the cat to lay with him. Alright. The shape. Let's see. What's the line? That was a little passive with black. Well, that happened.
Yeah. Again, this is far too embarrassing. I don't know if... I mean, a lot of the things I've... Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. Wait.
Barricade the door with something.
This was against a bot. That's right. Okay. This is when one of the streams I had got cut off. I mean, no, it was during a stream. But yeah, this was a bot on Foxy that had... I mean, they had only wins, no losses, and they always took a moment before even the obvious of moves. Most obvious moves.
Okay.
But, so that's why I was also kind of figuring that some of their moves like that and whatnot were all slow. But still, nonetheless, I mean, I've still done some stupid stuff.
Do you have any games against people?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can go over this one, but
it was mainly just the opening that I really wanted to look at. Because, yeah, the rest of it is just plain old whatever. So, like, I just don't like the idea of just backing off. Like, I feel like my options are limited for...
So there's a couple moves you can do here. You chose the kick in the game. But you also have...
Oh, I'm at the lower right, but sure, there's that too, yeah.
Resize my computer thing for KGS really fast. I'm using a 4K TV as my monitor at the moment. Everything's kind of out of whack at the minute. It's definitely not the computer screen I'm used to using. Alright, so here you can also two-space high pincer at H4.
See, that's the thing. I don't know my pincers with the 3-4. I mean, I know, like...
So it depends, right? So, like, the G3 pincer is kind of not really interested in big development. The 1-space high, 2-space high are, like, the strongest single pincers for local fighting. The kick is good if you're just taking territory, but you're gonna be giving up the sides and focusing more on individual group strengths.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot more counting. Yeah, the Q3 attachment directly is kind of weird. I would have been curious about that, but it makes sense for like a strong player to do Q3 because the idea is if we get into like the R3 R2 variation, then Black's lower right will be strong enough to support two stones, and he can play a move like J4, and that'll typically be good. But typically in this kind of variation, I would usually just expect them to K4 after the approach.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but, you know, it's a bot. But... Like I just feel like the way that I play is just based off of. I mean, I just based off of what I'm thinking, and I literally can only think of kicking or extending or attaching or some kind of pincer, but all of them in my mind suck. I just do not like the 4-4. But I don't know. I just know that my openings suck, especially with this. Like I know that my mindset of things is getting in my way, but okay, finally. Okay. Well, like I was trying to notes before, I just I don't know. I all I know is that I worry too much. I know my evaluation of the opening
That's
sucks, but
well.
I
Don't
just
worry,
don't
mine's
know.
pretty. So borrow mine. All right. So right when he approaches the 03, right? There's only two things you need to look at. You have a 3 versus 2 fight in the bottom left corner, and you have a 1 versus 1 in the bottom right corner, right?
When
So you have a 3 versus 2 in the bottom left and a 1v1 in the bottom right.
I have no idea what that means.
Okay, so pass me control.
Cause yeah, I don't know my terms.
No worries.
Yeah
So
yeah
3 white stones, right?
yes
Versus 2 black stones. So 3 versus 2.
yes
So white has an advantage in the corner. There's only one move in the bottom right corner for each player, so it's a 1 versus 1 local skirmish, right? So white has an advantage. White can press the advantage here by playing a pincer, either something like G3 or H4.
See, I
Or
never would play those two and play away from the corner though, because then they can double pincer or they can do
well,
something.
sure, but
But
so let's look, right? You get a pincer, they double pincer. That's fine. Let's say, even in this position, let's just say you play this approach, right? Even if they play this move, you can still live in the bottom right corner, right?
sure.
And you're still attacking 2 stones. So there's still ways to profit from the bottom left corner. The
But
top
it's
right is on
very
step
easy
1
for those
versus
two
1.
stones to escape.
Well, that's what you want them to do. If the A group is running, then white can profit on the left and the bottom.
Sure, but the bottom probably won't be able to build that much and the left side's low.
Well, that's fine. You can make the left side bigger. There's no real big side for white to develop anyway because white chose to play this, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to develop the left side, then when black approaches, you'd have played this.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You kicked. You decided to take a territorial position, so you're not trying for big development. You're taking territorial moves. And G3 is a territorial. R14 is a territorial move. If he plays 3 moves in the bottom left corner, then you can just play like this and still keep territory. And this would be fine for white.
Why is G3 territorial? Just because it takes away the base?
Yeah, and because if black tries to run away, right? Let's say black runs away. White can get some points here. You know? White can make a small life and possibly some territory. And depending on how the corner plays out, you might be able to get more on the bottom too. But it depends on how the bottom left corner plays out. If you're trying to develop, then you should be playing a pincer.
Well, no. I mean, I'm trying to do territorial more because I know it's one of my weak points, and this is exactly why. Because I continue to want to develop. Because every time I go territorial, they always build up in some kind of moyo, and even if I know it's some kind of reduction or whatnot, and I know I should extend or Atari first, but
Yeah, so don't forget these exchanges. They're actually really big.
yeah.
Because you get the S5 endgame this way. When you just play this one and black gets to bump, It's actually a pretty big difference in the corner.
Mhm.
So yeah, this one is actually pretty big in the corner, right? Because if white has to come back and extend here to prevent black from getting more, then black gets A for B exchange and Sente. And this
Mhm.
is actually good because there's still the weak point of the cut on the triangle stone.
Yep.
So that weak point is going to have pressure for white later because you never played S3.
Mhm.
I don't know what the actual game move was. Okay, you played this one. Slightly worse shape, but oh, whoops. Sorry, still getting used to the 4K. So like now, this is really really good for
For
really
black,
really
yeah.
good for black. The stone at A has become wasted, and black doesn't have a wasted stone on the board yet. So black's already got a 1 move advantage. Luckily, white has Sente, so I can do something with this. Maybe a pincer or maybe some approach move. You won't be able to develop an entire side, but you can play territorial still. This is a little too slow, like too easy. If you were gonna play a defensive move, then you'd want it to be something stronger, like the Sagari that can take the point.
But that doesn't look
This
strong to
one,
me at all.
this one actually giving up this weak to black is worse.
Well, yeah, that one does make sense and is clear, yeah, but the drop down makes because of that cut.
So
That
the
cut just
idea,
is too vital in my opinion.
no, so you just do that. Stand like this before black can actually do anything against the bottom group, right?
But black,
So
I would
black is
feel is
pushing from
happy with
behind
that.
here. Well, black is pushing from behind the rest of the board. Like if black has to start running, it's not really a happy position
But
because
black
black's just gonna
has
have a
control
floating
of the
group.
center.
Sort of. These stones are not strong yet. They're just kind of floating there with no base and no eyes. So as the game progresses, white can take advantage of that. And white, out of this, he gets a weaker group at A, but A has a lot of the bottom to settle because the black stone at O3 is weak. And white was also able to take territory with these exchanges.
But
So this
I'm
one's a little better for white.
But to me, like, if black makes an extension out there and it threatens the white group, then white is going to eventually have to take some kind of gote move in order to live somehow on the bottom, and then black will have so much influence and potential in the center.
That's right now I can't find a good way for black to attack. I mean, black could play this, but even with this, I don't see this really doing much for black. Like, can just push through and give up the territory on the bottom, and black's still floating in the center. Like, black doesn't have an easy way to coordinate an attack here. I think. Like the standard shape I would think of would be something like counter attacking here maybe if white tried to pincer, but even then white could just finish the situation here and then for a move like h4 or h3 after this.
But then black could
Maybe
go for
white
territory and threaten to take away white's eye shape. But again, this is just me just thinking that there's just too many issues with everything I do. Because again, there's just too many options.
You have to understand there's a lot of options, but black can't have all the options. Just because black can do one thing doesn't mean that that's the end all be all and you shouldn't let him play it. As long as you're getting something out of the deal too. And in this case, black playing something like this isn't going to help his middle group. And even after this, you still have like K2 to threaten his own eye space. So black's got two groups that are unsettled to white's one. That seems pretty good to white for white still to me. Like I wouldn't be unhappy as white here.
I would. But that's just because I'm not used to the territorial. I'm not used to playing a game with lesser points because every time I go for a game with lesser points, it ends up...
There's still pretty big territory at A that you're getting from attacking this. right? So, like, black's not really making a lot on the bottom, as long as black has to continuously answer white's defensive move. And white's has vital points inside white can play. Like, for example, white can still play this.
See that
Or
just
this. What's not this one? This one. Because, like, this kind of move is threatening. Oh, whoops. There you go. It's threatening 4 different ways to escape.
yeah.
And black can't stop all 4 with one move. It's like black tries to cover the top and white just extends down and connects back. Right?
But black still has plenty of room to just run out, so why would I do that though?
Because
And it's hurting the
black
white's bottom group.
It's not hurting the bottom group because you defended at L6. If white tries to run out, you just separate him from the middle. And black can't make territory on both sides. So black's not going to gain points here. White already gained points in the corner. And the best that he has on the bottom really is just there. You can dodge this just by playing the Hane and the extension.
Well, yeah.
So there's really no threat here. So this is strong enough for white. Because, like, in this case, black has to save the right side group. And then, you know, if white pulls back up like this, it's big territory and black's not alive yet. Right? So white can always threaten that, or white can play something like this to capture 2 stones. White can play approach. White could play Sansan. You know, white can play almost anything white wants here. Just because it's not strong. It's really balancing weak and strong groups. More important parts of playing territorial. But this cut is not actually useful for black. Not immediately if white extends down. There's too much eye space for white on the right side, and if black cuts, it just makes white point. So black wouldn't cut this immediately. I think if I was playing black here, I'd probably just settle. This is just too soft, obviously. Black's got a weak point at R8 that he can play. He chose the peep. This is kind of also like a robot type good exchange, because it's like if white connects. Oh, whoops. Why do I do that? It's like if white connects, then white obviously has Q7 as a bad move, right? That's what he's trying to get. But no matter what you play, it's still going to end up bad. Now he chooses to come back to settle. But the bottom right is pretty much okay for you. You don't have to play there. Your R14 move might look appetizing. I'm assuming it's what you played, but it's actually undercut by this move. And this exchange helps this move a lot. So I wonder if R14 is the right direction. It might be better to approach the inside and make this side lower, and then maybe come back to Sansan here and ask black to pick a direction. Try to get sent to like Q17. Seems like it could be a good idea. The game, he jumped back, so he's trying to get you to connect. Ugh, painful. Yep. I'm surprised he didn't do this one. Interesting. It's fine. That's an interesting one. I probably would have just gone here. This one is a little stronger.
It is.
R8.
Yeah.
Because now it's like if he plays R8, you just go here. I mean, if he does this, I mean, I guess that's fine, but you can just kind of run out this way and attack it. And his corner will still have problems. This leaves a bit of an uncut here. This is kind of like a Tessigi against the shape, so your opponent could play something like this and then go for this move, which will threaten a living shape to run out or to slide. So he's always got that Tessigi available to him. So
Mhm.
2 space high pincer. He's trying to protect the cut. And so here he's offering the trade. You decline the trade. It's fine. That's soft.
Everything I do is soft.
Nah, I would have been better to jump. Because then even if he honeys, he can just come back. At least you get to bring up your territory and make it harder for R11 to happen. Or either way, you should be jumping here. Extending is good if it's Sente against something, but P18 is already taking your corner, so separate you. The move itself was not Sente. Not sure why you clamped. I'm assuming you thought that.
There's a lot of things I thought, but
Yeah, this is still painful though.
well, yeah, everything about this game is painful.
This move is not like, this is big, but it's not like Super Sente. It's just very, very difficult to attack black somewhere now. Like you could probably play this attack and still live on the top side somehow, but you're still weak in the middle, so it's not feasible to do that. You don't have a good forcing move at the bottom to protect the top indirectly. Just like he's kind of trying to force this move, and then he wants the Hane.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming he'll just play this anyway. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Typically you want to take away liberty. So either this move or this one.
I guess I was just over worried about being cut.
Well, if it goes like this, he can get this. So that's painful. If it's like this, it's harder to cut. But you know, it's still pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I should have just died, but they didn't. So. Yeah, throw in would have just taken care of me, yeah. But the bot didn't do it.
Yeah, and then he defended. And then you lived. He defended in Gote. Oof. Painful.
We don't have to keep looking at this one, honestly. It was just everything before I wanted to look at. Because, yeah, at this point it was just like whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly.
But I just ripped you apart.
It's just, I don't like openings.
That's alright, I love them.
Because for me, I can only get a good opening if my opponent gives me a good opportunity or a good opening. Other than that, I can't bring myself to get any good openings.
Well, what I say is, I don't focus on having a particular Fuseki in mind when I go into a game of Go.
I don't
go into the game. Oh, I hope my opponent gives me this. I just match my opening moves to whatever my plan for that game is. So if it's like, well, I'm gonna play like a territorial fighting game, then I'm gonna make sure that all of my moves are honest to that purpose.
And that's
and
what
then
I'm
it doesn't have to worry
do.
about like, you know, good or bad opening, because all my moves are going to be following a plan. And as long as you're not playing against a robot, your opponents, especially at your level, typically won't have that ability. Like they won't know how to have a plan. All right, what's the next one?
pulling it up. I'm just double checking the everything. I played as black. Oh, this one. Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to go with whatever I want to work on for the openings. It's just a matter of responding and evaluating that I know I don't do well with. But I just feel like everything I know is limited. I mean, just the matter of me not knowing my terms or how to explain things just goes to show that I don't know much.
It's alright. We will help you know more. Are you white or black in this?
I'm black.
Okay. You're already doing better than the last game. I don't know if I would have played that one, though. Or that one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Your opponent's really passive. Super soft. Oh, hey, look. They've done their Sunega homework. What the? Okay.
I wanted to capture the group, but I misread one thing.
Yeah, thanks.
Anytime I
Okay.
try thinking of going for the capture or the kill, something has to happen, and then I just continue. Once something like that happens, I just continue to make blunders like this move. And everything just continues to fall apart because I just don't know my stuff.
Well, you just lose track of what they're trying to do. It's not that you don't know anything. It's when you're in the heat of the moment. So, A, don't get so emotional about it when you're playing. Keep a level head. And B, have a plan. It's okay to blunder. It's going to happen. That's just a fact of life with Go. Expect to correct the mistake. Don't keep feeding into the mistake. Cut the mistake off early and then play away. Like, this game is still not unwinnable for black. It just depends on how you play. Take advantage of your opponent's inconsistent direction. Like now, you're alive in the corner. And you get Sente from this, right? So...
I was
took
worried
rotate
about
him.
my disconnection.
No, because even if he disconnects, you're still alive locally. So you can take a move like F11.
How am I alive locally? See, that's the
so-
thing that just
so-
makes no sense to me.
So look, you have B11, which threatens to connect under A12. And
Yeah.
after B11, you can play B9,
B9.
which will give you 2 lots on the left side.
Sure.
So B11 lives locally, and F11 kicks out and lives. So that's in the
Yeah.
so don't play it. So F11 by itself now, unprompted, is a wasted move. All it's doing is connecting. It's not putting pressure on anything. So you've essentially wasted a move that you didn't need to play because your group was already alive. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, everything I do is
Really?
interesting.
Really interesting. I don't know about White's choice just now, but
Yeah, I don't know about my choices either.
So it's evident to me that you don't count your games.
I just
it's also
don't
evident to me that
evaluate
you
because
don't-
I don't know how to
Yeah.
evaluate.
Okay, so we'll teach you how to evaluate. We want to see Ost 5 down.
I am 5-dan, I just am a crappy 5-dan.
No, I mean like real 5 down, like KS 5 down.
Oh, KGS 5-dan, yeah. That might take a while.
Not as long as you think. As long as you need to.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'll just go up to that far. I'm not going to bother with after that.
Don't worry. I've had 4 students so far that I started around. They were 3Q to 1Q KGS, and within the first 6 months to a year, they were 4 done. You're in good hands, Austin.
Except I've known you for how long? Over a year?
Yeah, but they here's the difference. They pay me, and they do what I tell them to do, and they don't argue with me.
True. That's fair. Touche.
All right.
Touche.
So what I do with them is I do structured learning. I have them focus on one thing, and they improve the one thing, and then we move on. So step 1, identify what your biggest weakness in your 3 fundamentals are. And your 3 fundamentals are positional judgment, direction, and play reading. So it seems to me that you're pretty bad at positional judgment and direction of play.
AKA the opening.
Yeah, so...
But yeah.
Like here, you said you're black, right?
Yep.
1 space low pincer. Pretty appealing. As long as you keep in mind that this is a low relationship and it's only 6 lines apart. So it's actually not that big. It's only an 18-point gap, right? Times 3 is 18. So you can think that the pincer is worth about 18 points. Developing the right side is worth 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
About 9.
3 by 12. So direction of play wise, Q6 is bigger. If you use just direction of play principle, just playing Q6 should be fine. If white doubles back to a pincer, you can double back into the corner. Right?
Did you miss 2 moves?
Yeah, you can do it that way, or you can do the old, the push and then Hane and whatever. So you can play this Joseki, and white actually can't develop the bottom either, because for him the bottom's only 6 spaces. So he's not actually getting a lot. Black gets a corner, black gets side expansion. Sure, white can take that away, but black's going to get to both sides, right? So like you can imagine something like this. And even with this, how much territory is black getting in A, B, and C?
Well, 3 corners.
Sides, right?
So yeah, 10, 15, and maybe 12. So
yeah, for giving up the side, this would be really black. So in this opening, it would make a lot of sense for black to play this point.
Except for me, that doesn't come to mind.
Well, you have to learn it first. This is where you should have the notebook, my friend, so you can, notes on these.
Okay, I get the point.
So this is why you'll see a lot of players playing
No,
white.
wait, no. Now I have to actually get a notebook. Give me a second.
Good. I can't tell you how many times I tell people, my students, to have the notebook, and it actually helps them. Because it's not enough to just hear things once. You actually have to practice them.
Okay. It is okay. I have a pad of paper that has 4 pages ripped off and probably maybe 70 pages. Your job is to make me fill it all. No.
Okay.
No. Okay. So.
No.
Okay. What am I writing?
When you're choosing a direction in the opening, identify the biggest side. The first fundamental that you use is direction of play. So obviously, to define direction of play is simply going to be the biggest direction, the direction with the farthest potential to expand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for black, that's Q6 here. That does not mean that you have to expect to get the entire right side. It just happens to mean that the right side has the highest value of time. That's why you play it.
More value or more potential?
Mhm. The positional judgment would be evaluating the differences between urgent and big areas. There's nothing urgent in the opening, really. You can Tanuki almost anything. So the first few moves, direction of play should be your biggest thing. In the game, you played on the smaller side, you pincered. And you pincered low. If you were going to pincer to try to develop something, you should pincer high. Go for something like this, right?
N4?
Yes.
I would never have. There's a lot of things. I wouldn't have thought of N4. I don't see what the purpose of that is other than maybe a clamp or to cut through.
You don't see why I would play N5?
N4.
Oh, for black?
Yes.
Because it's the most
Oh,
severe pincer
that
that
pincer.
Yes.
I thought we were still on the Q6 variation.
No. This is just a way to get Q6 as black. But you get A and B, and that's the value of playing something N4. Sacrifice, sure, but it has a lot of value in that A and B are big for black.
Yes.
A has really big development potential with the right side of the board, right? If we imagine that white spent another move locally because he was scared,
Then
black was to play something like this, then the right side is huge. White almost has to invade. And if white has to invade, how is white going to find enough space to live here? Like, black is pretty happy with white trying to settle like this. Because that means, once again, black starts with two corners, and the third one's wide open. And now, what's the compensation that white will get if black plays C now, right? It's not like white can just split black off and expect to have a good result here. Whoops. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if white played this, because black had the base already, he could jump at any time and bring the stone out. You wouldn't have to do it immediately, but you could. And if you sacrifice them, it's a 3x5 area, like 18, 20 at the bottom for white. I think you've easily made that up.
Mm-hmm. And there's still plenty of Aji.
Yeah, so if you're going to do something like this on the bottom, pincer high. Create some dynamic contrast here.
But I
Give
guess I
yourself
just
more
don't
options.
fully understand the high pincer then, I guess. But
Well, it's more about spacing and understanding fundamentally the difference between the third and fourth lines and what they attempt to accomplish. So if we look at N3 and we look at F3 as individual local fights, and you're only focusing on the individual local areas, then F3's next move is typically going to be to either change direction to C6 and then you give up the F3 stone, or it's going to be to jump in at C3 and you're going to give up the F3 stone. But N3 says it wants to develop that, so it doesn't really make sense, right?
mm-hmm.
And locally, the fight with N3 would look something like this. And then black either has to clamp down the right side like this, or black has to play the fight, which is long and complicated. So N3 is just really weird. It's low with F3. It's not really coordinated on the bottom. You can't develop two third line stones that easy, but you can develop a third and a fourth line stone. And the N4 stone is much harder to counterattack. Now, if we get something like, I don't know, we get a Tanuki, right? And then black takes away the corner. And white takes the outside with the stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now N3 is actually kind of useful here. Because when we continue to run into the center, moves like F5 become useful, moves like H5 to run away become useful, and the N4 stone will support all without being easily attacked. So it just makes it harder for the opponent to break your coordination. Same kind of idea for the two-space high pincer. You can also choose to ignore this and just approach the other corner. You can also enclose the corner here, make the right side small, or double approach. You can play anything you want. But the pincer, count the spaces. Look at the territory. If it's less than 20, don't play it.
Yeah.
So there's this move. What did your opponent play? Oh, oops, I'm in the wrong tree. Oh, he attached here?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird.
All the games I'm in are weird.
Sure. So you can also attach here. Right? That's a pretty strong group for black. Here you allow yourself to be separated. You have two choices. You can extend or play co. You extended. I'd probably just think a base. Your opponent's already going to be looking to split the right side because of the placement of A.
Mm-hmm.
So when you play something that's like this, you just give them easy access to attack you with a move like this as a follow-up. This one will be a little stronger so that now if they come down and they play around A, you can just stabilize and you don't have to worry about them getting this move with tempo because you'll be alive already. You can play something like this next or something like this. He pincered, not this one, he pincered the other one, right? Oh, he pushed first. This is a bad exchange. That's also not good. Did you think about this one?
I did not.
But this is his only way to escape. All you have to do is read this seal and this one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to get a move around N5 or N6, it's going to help you counterattack L3, which is going to give you better coordination with F3. This one, you're kind of pushing him to settle towards the weak stone, which is good direction for white. And you're not actually sealing the corner. You're creating more space. For example, white can come out like this now.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, try to test a G like...
I guess anytime I think of the diagonal, I try to just go away from where all the stones are, but it's a shape point, so yeah.
Well, here's how you can think about it, right? You have a wall.
Yes.
That's a wall. So you want to use your push to push them towards the wall.
True.
This way is leaning away from the wall and pushing him towards the open area. This way is pushing him further into the wall. Make it uncomfortable for white. This one is too weak, too slow. White turned, you should not answer this. If you do answer this, it needs to be here. This would be really big for you right now. I think this is like the only move. Again, if you don't play this move, this is one of those really, really sharp shapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't let your opponent get free moves like this. They can aim for that move when they approach you. Right? Think about a variation like this, where white's able to come all the way over here and hurt the corner, and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really painful for black. So that's one of the weaknesses of the shape that you have here. But so you can't actually afford to allow that to make any difference. Should seal him in or play like this move to take that away. This would be big because if he captures the corner, you know, he's only getting one stone out of it. That's fine. Then you can play here. So for him to take the stone would be. Give me just 1 minute to this over. And I'll be... Probably. All right. So yeah, this one would have been like the next big thing. You don't have. Because even if he takes something like H3 next, you've already got big potential on the side of the board. You can just ignore it and play here.
And they're still going into the corner, jumping out later. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now I don't know which one's better, right? Because White's going to be alive after S2, so I don't use the 2 stones yet. And the 2 stones are more of a commitment than the blue stone is. Like, White can get another move against A and it can still live. So I'm not worried about the A. And like, for example, if White kicks, it actually helps Black. Because Black gets moves like this then. To kind of link back kind of idea. Or Black could play something like, this move, or something like this move. So all really good ideas for Black if White makes Black stronger. So I don't think White would do that at this. And even with this move, Black still live. No, it's not much. Like after this, I would expect White to either enclose or back off here. Then if Black takes this, I'd expect the push. And then maybe I would expect White to make some exchange here and try to attack. Maybe that, or maybe this one's better. Or White can play this and hope that Black extends. If Black extends, let me turn the DPI on my mouse down so misclick less. It's going to make me slower, but I'll have far fewer misclicks. Something like this could be how White would plan to parry. So White could do something like that. But this looks like it would be an okay game for Black still. There's a chance to salvage him. You played the pincer immediately. So here you're inducing a fight, but White's alive in the corner, so it's not hard or not easy to hurt him. And then White took away the right side, which is the big area. I think you're almost inclined to play this pincer.
Yeah.
So after the turn in the corner, because of A, you have to protect A from a distance. And so this would be the best pincer to do that with. This variation would be kind of the one that we're going for here. If White plays this way, then he loses a lot of the development potential on the top for the A stone, which is okay for Black. And locally, he can play this continuation from the corner. He can also try to play this one and then get that in conjunction with this move. Hard to say. Black could also take this away from him. And then extend, have White go here, extend. This could be fine. I think Black can take control of the game like this.
Yeah, it already feels more comfortable, yeah, but... Yeah.
In the game, Black chose to play this one. So here, this kind of like positional judgment, right? Is White stone high or low?
It's high. Oh, that one is low.
Low, right? You're developing the low side of your opponent.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to develop your side by taking your high side down to the third line to stabilize, that's positional judgment, right? So identifying here that the top side is less important than the right for you, because the top is only really big for White post the Shinmari, when White can expand. That's when you want to get moves like this in. Or nowadays, plays like this or like this. Is that making sense?
Yes.
It's okay if it's not. Just let me know so I can say it in a way that's different that might make more sense.
No, I'm just also writing at the same time, so.
Gotcha. So for the current state of affairs, this is fourth line relationship. This is third line relationship. And you can develop your fourth line by bringing it to the third line. You should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, this is the variation I played for white. Never mind. That's not what white actually played in the game. I'm bad.
Let's see.
White played this move. So, with this move, this is not so good. White's to attack the 2 stones now that white's alive, but the 2 stones by themselves don't actually have any anymore. Right? So, like, the minute that black just goes here, what does white do now?
Connect the stones or go elsewhere.
Well, you see that white doesn't have a good follow-up, right? So, even if white comes back with something like this, then black can link out with O5 at any time, or N6. Black can still run at M6. There's not a single white move that can seal that in, and white's still not connected. So, if we evaluate this for white, it doesn't look so good, right? White doesn't get territory. White gets an attack, but the attack doesn't build territory, right? Even if we imagine that white gets some kind of attack like this.
Mm-hmm.
What territory is white building from here?
Nothing.
Yeah, right? So we don't care about that attack. You know, at worst, white plays here and will be Tanuki, and white captures 2 stones. Now we have Yosei, right? And in endgame, when you say it's still not really that big for. So, not so big for white to play this attachment. Probably this is a mistake. When you Hane, give your opponent momentum, so be careful. Now he pulls back and there's a shape defect at J2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can avoid that simply by pulling back. It's stronger. You're getting yourself strong, and by getting strong, you're revealing the weak point at A.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, "Hey, white, your weak point is showing." This one, you make him defend the weak point directly as a response to your Hane, but now you have a weak point that you have to defend. So you have to go here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's likely that this variation will play out, and you'll go into this kind of thing.
No, never mind. I was thinking a different game.
This is also okay for black, but you unnecessarily strengthen white's corner.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you jump. Why this?
Because I was still thinking I could capture the corner. But
Gotcha.
I was misreading it.
Do more life and death.
I was tilted. I was not thinking.
Assume it's alive.
Yeah.
Because even if you defend this, what's your answer to O5?
Jump.
Jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you kill it?
No.
So it's alive already.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to see where it's going to make 2 eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So this move, too weak, too slow. This move more appropriate, stabilize the bottom and make the J2 weakness irrelevant. Now this move is just endgame.
Mm-hmm.
So you lower the value of J2 by attaching in the corner. Here, your opponent played the Hane. This is a helping exchange. If he really wanted to hurt you, he'd probably kick first and then just jump. This seems good enough. and then just split you in half. And that way we'll make territory for white. So here, don't answer. One stone is not important. It's not a cutting stone. If your opponent decides to take it, then you can cut for the sake of taking away his eye and extend to force him to make the eye this way. But this would be good enough to ensure that you end with a living shape, which is all you need. The corner is damaged already. Even if he Hanes the A stone, he's not going to be able to build anything near as big as he'd be able to build before. And black gets the ideal shape to live on the bottom. So black can be happy with this result.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So you have to take moments like this and not just answer like, oh, he's camping me, so I should block this. This is very, 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 very cramped, right? You should be trying to gain space. So move to where the space is. Be like water and osmose to the largest area. So, especially when you're in close quarters like this, is this really a fight for black?
No.
It's not a fight, right? There's no cut. So you don't have to answer locally. That's like your first cue. Nothing's cutting, nothing's really at risk of dying. You just need to gain space. So this, and then he played this one. Like this for white is super slow. Even if you just connect, what does he do? Right? Because now just connecting in this shape, you're alive already because you can cut at K2, right? If he defends the K2 cut, then how does he answer this? And you're still alive because you can slide at D2 and make life, or attach at D3 and make life. So he could play like this, but then he suffers in the corner for that. Can that cornerstone live? I don't know. It's pretty hard.
And even if it's likely, white's going to get little territory and...
Yeah, like... Whoops.
Oh yeah, self-Atari, yeah.
White can get, like, dead L shape. But that's at best, you know, running. I mean, maybe white can make a life like this. But also does not look like a living shape, say. Well, yeah, I guess this would be a lot. White can get this life, but that's painful. Especially since black doesn't have to capture in this Gote.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means black can get stuff like this and white's still alive outside. And the left side is really big for black to develop. Because black is going to be aiming for moves like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you can just connect here and it's already still hard for white. In the game, you connected thinking that you were going to kill the corner, but you can't. At this point, you don't have a choice. You need to attach here. So now black has become busy. Black has potentially 3 weak groups.
Mm-hmm.
You turned. White is not yet alive. If you were going to threaten his life, you should do it. And so you have like a Miai here, right? With like A and some... So you can play this move and still expect an okay position. If your opponent goes here, you can come out. And get something like this to be stable. And if your opponent tries to cover from above somehow, like maybe they jump, you can always live with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So probably best to go here if you're going to threaten white, rather than turn directly when all white has to do is Atari to live.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're kind of floating, and you're almost like forced to play this Atari. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what the strongest answer for white would be. Seems tricky. So here you're reapproaching and you're offering a sacrifice. This one, you can play the Atari first and connect out. If white goes here, you can settle with this move. Take away a little bit from white. Or you can play this one. And you can force it out like this. Right?
Why
But
still
this-
C8 though? Why not try to go bigger?
Because if you go bigger, you leave weakness later. Let's see. The corner is pretty much destroyed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you can expect pretty readily to get this kind of a result and shrink white's corner. And you'll have enough space to live. If you go farther than C8 or something like, I don't know, I guess you're looking at this one, there's actually still a four. And even though black can still do that, white can still get outside forcing moves like this that are really, really useful for white and also good endgame in the corner, things like the push. So C8 is going to end up being the move that you have to play when white cuts anyway. Locally, it's typically the strongest response.
So in that regard, there's been, I mean, there was like in the previous game, in the previous opening, where on the bottom right corner there was that cutting position, and then there's this one. I mean, I know they're completely different scenarios, but there's there's a plentiful amount of scenarios. So I guess like some people will say moves like this are slow and.
Well, the difference between that one and this one is that in the other one, your cutting shape looked like this. And the position of these two stones on the second and third line matter. Because when these extend, they extend on the third line and they take territory. So you don't have the same shape. I mean, it's the same shape, but the stones are turned in a different direction on this. None of these stones are going to be expanding along the third to make a bait, because both of these are on the third, and the other two are on the fourth and fifth one. So you protect that by playing on the third. If your opponent plays back in the corner to save the corner, then you expand. Now your opponent doesn't have like this. It's actually very difficult for them to get some kind of an attack against you, because the shape can live locally.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the idea. You want the shape to be non-attackable. That's why you play C. You can play farther away. That's fine. But it's going to have more weaknesses later. And when your opponent gets closer to it, then the weaknesses like the cut or the clamp or the shoulder hit or the hame will all come into question. Like, how are you going to defend these?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, like with this, what happens if white hames, right? Are you just going to passively block and give white what white wants on the out?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. If you cut, you know, it might turn into a Sumeko or a reading problem or trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's weakness here. What's the weakness?
You cut off just in middle of that question.
I said, what's...
Yeah, it's happened again.
This is the only move that actually threatens the shape. And black has two really good answers here. Well, three, technically. Black either lives in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Black plays empty triangle and fights in the center. Or black can play the Kema and live on the side. And so, even with white's strongest attack follow-up, white cannot hurt the black root. It's perfectly safe. So that's why this one. But those are just examples. In the game, you did this one. So white blocked. Typically, when white blocks here, your goal is to play this.
Yeah.
you'll play this Atari, or you'll Tanuki entirely. When you connect back here, you kind of change your mind and you give up even more in the corner. That move is fine. Sorry, finally happened. Let me see here. Do you need that move? I think here you can just jump.
Fair.
So if you played this move, what do you think White would play?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to attack those 4 or 5 stones.
Yeah, right. If White goes here, then Black can just settle. And while it looks big to let White cut, it's actually much bigger to let Black pincer.
Yeah.
And so even if White defends here, then now Black can play this move, and Black already gained quite a bit because White still come back to G6 later, and if White doesn't come back to G6, Black will. And then what does it get from the bottom left corner? Really, it's going to become really small. For White. So you can use that weakness to your advantage with a move like D11 and use it to gain some tempo elsewhere. Really, the only reason I defend that move directly was if the cut actually worked, but I don't see this move working for White.
Yeah.
So, if reading that out is difficult, then do more
No,
Sumego.
it's not hard to read. No, I just wasn't reading.
No, I'm sure. Just saying, if that is for any reason difficult to read, then the remedy is Sumego. So here now you've got 2 weak. Really, you have possibly 3 if White gets R8, but I don't think your opponent's going to see that. You've got 3 weak groups. If White is strong, he can defend this way. He can also pincer like this. This would be really good. In the game, he played the diagonal. This one's actually better for you. You can just defend like this now, and it's pretty good. Don't slide in the corner. Oh my god, don't slide in the corner. If you see the diagonal and you play locally, play the 3-space extension.
This is another one of those things that I don't know any of the variations for the diagonal.
Well, it's not knowing variations. I don't know Joseki either. The thing here is you've got 4 weak stones on the bottom left you have to do something with.
Yeah.
And you now have a stone at C15. When your opponent doesn't separate them, you should connect them back. You can save the Kama for something like after you get into this fight, when you threaten to live locally.
True.
It's like if it's something like this, that's when that move would make some kind of sense. But it doesn't make sense here. It's like, oh, he's going to surround me, so let me continue going forward and let him separate me. And here, he's separating the wrong groups. He should be separating these or these. This one is actually not that good for him. That's fine. And then he's separating here. So this is an example of him attacking but not knowing how to profit from his attack. Because yes, he's launching an attack on the bottom stones, but by attacking directly, he's not making any profit.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, funny enough, you can probably ignore this even one more time, and he still can't kill you.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, yeah.
No, he really can't. Like, if you Tanuki'd and play this move, for example, right? Like, the next logical move to steal you in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? You push. And then you extend. And then you extend.
Yep.
So he actually can't surround you. It's pretty easy to get out of this. And if he tries to cap you, God forbid, you just run away.
Yeah.
When you're playing this kind of attack and chase, you're cutting the stones in half in your mind. And you're looking at the half that's away from the opponent's stone. So these are the groups in question that are fighting, right? So everything to the northwest of the white stones is what white would be attempting to develop as profit. We only have one problem as white.
There's black stones there. Mm-hmm.
So let me illustrate white's attack real quick.
Oh boy.
There we go. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm being attacked. Whoop. My opponent's chasing me up the board. Whatever will I do?
Cut
Where
them.
it's profit if I'm alive? Where's one? So white actually doesn't sit here. This is just a really bad. Fundamentally, this is a bad attack. Jumping is slow. Don't play this move. Jump. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so go here. He doesn't have a good way to attack. Part of the evaluation is reading out his attack. If I Tanuki, do I die? Don't just assume the answer is yes because in your mind you see this as a follow-up. Actually examine if there's a way to escape. And I would almost challenge you to Tanuki in these situations anyway and see if you can live. So this is a little slow. White now has the opportunity to play elsewhere, which he should. This is also not good. Probably necessary. Weird. Also weird. You really like the diagonal, but in this case, it might not be appropriate.
Nothing looks good to me.
Here.
Like with that,
think
there's
you
the
just don't.
poke.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the idea. You trade.
Well, true.
But you're afraid to trade. You want to have everything. You greedy bastard.
I am.
But trading is better for black. You get more than you give up. So, like at this point, white would have to be the one to come here, but you can just live. And then if he really wants to trade with you, he has to find a way to make this work, and it doesn't. You just live. So, yeah. You can also play this move, which is really annoying for him, because then you have the threat of living like this. Right? If he tries to steal you. So this can guarantee that you protect both sides. But you gotta read it.
Yeah.
You learn these moves when you do a lot of Sumego.
I don't know where to go for Tsumego or problems or anything.
Oh, son, you fucked up now. Now I have to give you homework.
Oh boy. I mean, I'm fine with homework, so.
Oh, you think that now? You think that now, my friend?
Indeed, I do think that right now.
I'm gonna put you through the same hell that I put myself.
I mean, I do have 10 life and death books.
There you go.
But I don't look at them.
So when you click on this link, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna give you Sho's Encyclopedia Elementary, Intermediate, Advanced, Gokyo Shunmyo, Shuan Kijing, and Igo Hatsuyoro.
A lot of names I don't know. Okay.
At least give him a half.
Nope.
Jesus.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, it's just a bit staticky.
Okay. You have one elementary 900 problem set.
Mm-hmm.
1 month. That's your first piece of homework.
What is?
To do the first set of Sumego from that link I gave you in the KGS game.
The difficulty 1 star.
Yes, the 1 star. There's 900 problems. Do all 900 of them. You have 1 month.
Okay.
For me, so shouldn't be too hard for you.
I mean, let's see. 1 month, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So that's 28 days. And 900. I don't use calculators, I do it all by hand.
It's about 210 problems a day. Or a week. It's really not a lot to do when you think about it for the standard.
Well, yeah.
But the idea with doing the Cho set is that you learn the very, very, very basic finishing life and death in the elementary set. And then when you do the intermediate problems, you get the Mego from the beginner set, but with less stones starting on the board. And then the advanced problem set builds the intermediate problem set with the elementary set. And it goes up to about 3 to 5 down in difficulty. After you're done doing all 3 sets, you move on to Gokyo Shumi, and you do the elementary problem set with some of the intermediate as part of your regimen. So you'll end up doing like 100 problems. All 900 of the element daily. Your reading will get so strong, like really strong, like you will be a reading god. It's great. It's also part of the reason why my students got to 4 on so quickly. So a lot of people, they read and they go, no, I can't play this. This looks bad. And then actually it's the best move on the board for black. You know, so just saying. This one, too big, too slow. This is double weakness. You pushed white again towards your weak area that you had to defend. You don't even cut after you make the push. Like, if you're going to push, at least cut. Goddamn.
Yeah.
You know, worst case scenario, your opponent goes here and you still play this move. Does the ladder work for white?
For now, yeah. But you never want to have to deal with the ladder.
No, you don't. But even with the ladder, everything in the middle that you play is Sente. Right? So you can use that to your advantage. Just the issue is you left a weak point behind. Right? So because you played a weak shape, you had to go back and fix it. That's the issue with these moves. This one leaves one weakness. Will die automatically. Are you familiar with Go?
You keep breaking up. I'm not.
Oh, are you familiar with Go Dave?
Yeah. I mean, I only know of him from talking in the streams, but other than that, no.
You should hit him up on private message in Discord and train with him. He's one of the people I got to fort on.
Really?
Yep. This whole thing, that's not a bad move. You can also do the 2-space low. I think would be easy too, or even the 3-space low pincer. I think all 3 of them are fine. In this particular case, I don't think I would kick though. You should play the knight's move first. You're this is not really problematic for you on the third line. Like, I mean, even if it's still a significantly better result for black.
Yeah.
Kicking prematurely actually allows your opponent to switch to the outside.
Mhm.
They don't have to answer the kick, and this would be painful if black suffers like a result like this. Let's just play this out on the board, right?
Mhm.
Because then white gets kind of like all the territory automatically, and you don't really get a lot on the right side. Like you get some, but it's not enough. You can probably play this one. If white plays the Atari exchange, it's better for you. You can push and make the top side smaller. You don't actually have to try to jump in it. And if white doesn't play Hane and plays this instead, then you can play here.
Mhm.
If white spends a lot of time going after one stone, you can use that to cover your weakness. If white's a strong player, he'll go after everything, but this one loses a lot of its value now that you've connected to the outside. This bump is interesting. Because it's kind of like black plays the Hane S17 and white plays R14, and then black jumps and white clamp, and then R14 itself just looks like a weird move.
Yeah.
This is a little ambitious. Just a little ambitious. If you were going to attack, the attacking shape is here.
How is that at the attacking shape, though? Oh, because of the cut.
Yeah, because there's a cutting point. Right?
Mhm.
That's the vital point that white would want white stone at to net black. So black can start the attack there.
Mhm.
That's how you find the vital shapes usually. But this is the vital point to attack white. And if white plays under to live, then black Hanes and builds territory. That's usually how you go about doing it. I'm playing some way like this.
But that cut is still available.
Yeah, if white's not careful. In this particular instance, right, let's say black cuts, white would be looking into something like this. But it's still pretty tricky. You know, maybe white has to protect the cut like this. That would be super painful, right? Because white's not alive yet.
Mhm.
You can imagine white forced to run and black getting to build a huge territory. Seems nice.
True.
Whoops. Granted, black probably wouldn't get that move immediately. You probably have to start with something like this. Let's see, after white turns out and then only when it's connected, come back here. But it works. Looks like it works anyway. But this one is not the vital point. You missed the vital point. He missed it. He can still go here.
Mhm.
You're worried about the life and death, so that makes sense.
But
Typically,
kick
there's
should be fine. Yeah.
stronger. Well, typically the kick is the better living shape
Yeah.
because it turns into the Miai.
That's not Centig though, is it?
Hmm? Well, you have an extension here, right? So it's
Oh.
hard for white to... And if white goes here, then you can play this one. And you can always live emergency life to S6.
Well,
So
yeah.
this seems... This one... I'm not sure about this. Because a lot of times you have to back off here. Otherwise, if you don't, your opponent gets to throw in. And then you lose the emergency life shape.
Mhm.
I mean, it's still probably okay, but like only if the shape actually works to make some kind of life. And in this case, it doesn't look like that'll be the case, right? Locally, it's just dead shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't want to give him the S6 points. That means you'd have to come back like this, and white gains a lot in endgame with this kind of variation. And even here, white can throw in and take the eye away. At best, you have one eye.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's still more severe for white to go here.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
The idea with this move, just so you can see, is that white's aiming for this shape.
Mm-hmm.
Now this looks like a basic Senego shape, right?
Yep.
If we assume that black is surrounded, this would be the start of the advanced Senego. No, he Tanuki, that's okay. An interesting way to Tanuki. You didn't have to play this move. You didn't have to play that one. You can start here, I guess. This one looks very strong to attack black. Fixes the shape in the middle, then he has the double knights move to cut you. The cut between G9 and F11, and then the cut between F11 and D12.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks like it's unnecessarily coaxing black to defend in a way that will help. So black defended. Not sure why you felt the need to do that.
I
This is
wasn't
fine.
thinking or reading.
If he pushes and cuts, then you can just extend down. If he goes here, then you can extend out, and you're alive already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if he can at this point, you can clamp into the Atari and just live.
Mm-hmm.
At best, he has this, and you can right with this move. Also questionable. It's a very small territory if black just pincers.
Mm-hmm.
Because if white Hanes to kill it, black Hanes to save it. Oops. You know, if white connects, black connects out. If white cuts, then, you know, there's always the endgame type of co-situation where black can get, you know, all these extra forcing moves. Whoops. This one. Whatever he needs to build it up. This one is very, very, very questionable to me. I don't know what he's trying to get on the top, but it's not big enough to spend a move on. Here you both agree to destroy the territory, but black has to be careful. White has a lot of center potential, and black only has really two ways in. And when you live on the top like this, you're actually closing your ways, right?
Yeah.
Like you can imagine him getting this move, and all of a sudden there's a Moyo in the center.
I mean,
So be careful
yeah.
with these exchanges. Such a small space. Like, just go here. Make the space. This doesn't work for him. You can still jump in. Right?
Right.
And even if he blocks from the corner, then you can Hane under. So here you have a timing, right? You see the move looks slow. You can ask yourself, how can I make it a weakness on both sides? And then just find a move that does that. You already have the weakness from the corner of his. So it's like I can already connect back to the corner with the 18. Can I give it another group that I can expand from to connect back to territory? And then that's how you find this move. And you see here, he's not actually building the Moyo now. Like, if black cuts here, this is actually a big move, right? If black...
Oh, come on.
You DC'd.
It disconnected me again.
Yeah, I know, I saw.
Okay.
So even if you play this cut, you have moves like this L17 move, which can kind of get you cutting off the one stone, or possibly hurting black center. This is like a Tesuji. You can also play this one. As long as you make sure to account for possible ladder issues, and you make sure that your stones can escape, he's actually not alive on the left side. So this Tane is pretty severe weakness. Like he'll almost have to suffer a little bit. Whoops. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can just kind of drill him further. Just a little slow. Like, after the clamp, white doesn't have to answer this. You can also just answer here.
Yeah.
Or, at worst, just connect. Or Atari. Is this where the game ended?
No, it continued on, but I think at this point it's clear that I'm behind.
So. I don't think it's over yet. I think it's not bad for you. I think taking the goats like that with this exchange was horrible. But at this point in Hane, because now you have this to threaten the extension, and then the Tesuji. And it actually threatens to kill both sides. I think
And
this
why
is
K16
probably...
again?
K16 is a local Tesuji. So if white tries to push through, there's no ladder. Right?
Oh, duh. Okay.
So white can't play the ladder, and if white plays this way, he loses the top side. If he tries to save the top, he loses the left. So it's like forcing white to pick a side. He actually is going to die either way. But you should learn this Tesuji. It's really strong. Get good at Tesuji illustrates this one.
I don't know anywhere for Tesuji either. I don't know any good websites. The only one I've ever known was Go Problems and Josekipedia, but I've gotten nothing recently in the last few years but hate towards the two, especially Go Problems, because everything on there is unrealistic. So
well, not even just that. They give you the solutions, and the only Sumego that are really going to help you are the ones that don't give you solutions provided and force you to read everything. And you have to do them repetitively. Unfortunately, it's a lot of work, but you have to do it. But if you can spot these kinds of moves and tempo swing type things, like, it really improves your middle game play. Because had you known that this attack existed, you wouldn't have been in a losing position. It's actually a chance that black could just end the game right now.
True.
So I like to end the game quickly.
Oh yeah.
So that's about all I have time for today, though.
Nice.
Maybe I'll be able to do some more tomorrow or Tuesday. I have to go to sleep though, because I have to wake up in the next 8 hours.
Yeah, completely understandable.
All right. Take care. Have a good night. Reflect on your notes. Look over these games. Go over some of the variations I put there.
Oh yeah.
Put notes in the SGF about what you remember. and what you notice looking back on them. Write your own notes about the positions, and then save the SGF because we're going to go over it again in a week.
Wait, what?
Yes, we're going to go over it again in a week. See, another thing that people don't do is they don't review their older games after time has passed to see what changes in their analysis. But it's a good way to actually measure your growth in real time.
Huh.
So I
Okay.
Yep.
In
All right.
all of these variations. Okay. We'll see. Yeah, anyway.
Take care, Austin. Good luck in your next 2 games. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you.